You look at Eileen and you think talent, Olympic gold medalist, Stanford educated, 3 languages, entrepreneur, model, and all of that by 22. But when she was directly asked how she got there, she never mentioned talent. She didn't mention motivation, discipline, or work ethic. She described 4 trainable cognitive skills that most elite performers have never heard of. And when mapped against everything I teach my clients, I realized this is exactly what makes our best clients successful. It has nothing to do with how smart they are, their strategy they have, how much capital they have access to, or even their team. Because you can be the best at what you do. You can know exactly what needs to happen to get to the next level, but you can do nothing about it. You can be fired up on a Monday morning and then do nothing on it for the whole week. Friday comes and barely anything has moved. And that happens to pretty much every client who doesn't master the core hidden skills that make Eileen so successful. The goal is to change the underlying hardware. And Eileen gave you the clearest map I've seen of what that hardware is. And the 4 skills are, first, metacognition. She said it best.
I break down all of my thought processes. I think I apply a very analytical lens to my own thinking, and I kind of modify it.
Most people never observe their own thinking. They just execute it. So if a thought arrives, said, I'm not ready, I'll do this later, that gets treated as a fact and they do nothing. But that's not a fact. That is a pattern for a system wired long before you knew you were building. And the drill is when an avoidance impulse hits, when a thought you know you don't need to pay attention to actually comes, you pause and you interrogate, what is this thought about? Is this accurate or just a random thought that makes no sense? Label, evaluate, and then choose whether you actually want to follow that thought. That gap, that metacognitive gap, is what makes elite performers special, because they can think a lot of crazy things. They can even feel a lot of these pleasant things, and they still do what they need to do. They still execute the right things when it matters most, because they don't fall for the trap of their own thinking. That's metacognition. And that's the most important skill you absolutely need to master if you want to be successful. But this is not enough. Skill number 2 is neuroplasticity.
You can control what you think. You can control how you think, and therefore you can control who you are.
If we can control how we think, then we can control everything. And our brain changes based on what we repeatedly do. Neurons that fire together, wire together. That is a quote from Heb, a neuroscientist. And most founders, most people, they're accidentally train their brains for distraction through constant context switching, reactive work, sharp feedback loop all the day. And then they sit down and they can't focus more than 3 minutes at a time. Now, that doesn't mean something's broken. It means that the brain has been trained for the wrong thing, and you have to fix it through progressive attentional training. But that is still not enough if you don't master skill number 3, which is systems thinking.
I'm always trying to modify. I'm trying to think, how can I be better? How can I approach my own brain the way that I approach my craft of free skiing so that I can be better tomorrow than I was today?
See, elite athletes don't just train. They have structured drills, feedback loops, realization, and coaches who see what they can't see from the inside out. And that is exactly what makes them successful. You can't just show up and expect to have a good day. That's why your performance and execution swings widely. You need an actual system. You need to see everything as interconnected and actually operate yourself as a system. And we at Selfmastered train founders in performance across 5 specific pillars that all work to improve your system: mental, physical, spiritual, strategic, and executive. Every single thing you want to learn and execute on requires aligning every one of those pillars. And finally, all of this leads to the most important skill, which is identity recreation.
With neuroplasticity on my side, I can literally become exactly who I want to be. How cool is that? How empowering is that, right? The fact is, I get to become every day the kind of person that me at age 8 would revere. I would be obsessed with me today. Are you kidding? I would love me. And I think that's the biggest flex of all time.
See, identity is not discover. You don't go to India to find yourself. It's constructed through behavior that confirms a self-concept. The trap is waiting to feel like a specific way in order to become that thing. No, that's just not how it works. You've been misled. Identity recreation is the systematic nurturing of the right thoughts, skills, and behaviors, and accumulating behavioral proof that you are the person you want to become. And one of the easiest ways of actually doing this is writing down exactly who you want to be and then operating from the standpoint that you are already that person. And that's how all of these skills stack up. First, metacognition, to choose how you think. Then neuroplasticity, to rewire your brain in real time. Then systems thinking, to actually work on what matters. And finally, identity recreations, to change yourself from the inside out without any pain, without any resistance, consistently working on yourself in a fun and easy manner. Now, Eileen did not develop this skill naturally. She was trained by coaches who understood how elite performance is built. But you have never done this, and this is why you need self-mastery. But before I pitch you anything, let me show you an example of last week. A client we started working with, Agent's founder, about 60K a month. And he had known for like months that he needed to rebuild his sales process. And turns out that he hadn't done it. So the first thing we typically do is we run a 360 analysis to find what I call the founder gap. The gap between the brain and the business. There's exact thoughts, emotions, and behaviors that need to be deployed in order for you to do the thing that you don't want to do. And it worked. We found out exactly what was the limiting thought, exactly the right behavior that needed to happen. And within 5 weeks, he had a whole new sales process. And about 6 months later, last week, he was up to 85 or 90%. That is absolutely wild. And it is not a motivation story. It is just a system story. If you actually develop the brain of an elite founder through metacognition, through neuroplasticity, through systems thinking, and through identity recreation, what do you think is going to happen, my friend? You're going to actually crush it because you're going to show up differently. But you can't do this on your own because you can't solve your own problems from the inside out. So if you recognize yourself in this, if you understand that there's something you need to do, you're actually not doing it, understand productivity, normal coaching, that won't help you. Finding the exact gap between your brain and your business and actually rewiring what needs to be rewired is exactly what will. So find someone to do this for you, or if you truly want something that has been proven across 400 plus founders, book your call below. And this is not a mindset program. This is not a bullshit productivity course. This is performance engineering. We're gonna go deep into exactly who you are in order to rewire you into who you need to be to break through. See you on the call.